Well, let's bring in former Clinton advisor and pollster Mark Penn and Bill McGurn, Wall Street Journal columnist and former speechwriter for President Bush. And Bill McGurn, I've been following your work for years on the Wall Street Journal. You have covered this story about affirmative action, especially as it dealt with higher education for many years. I want to get your take on your reaction to the court, but first listen to President Biden, who was asked about this on MSNBC yesterday.
I strongly disagree with the court's decision. This is not a normal court. What I meant by that is it's done more to unravel basic rights and basic decisions than any court in recent history. Take a look at overruling Roe v. Wade. Take a look at what the decision today. Take a look at how it's ruled on a number of issues that have been precedent for 50, 60 years sometimes. And that's what I meant by not normal.
So he's not addressing the principle or the issue of affirmative action in higher ed. Let's get you to do that today, Bill.
Yeah, I think it's not surprising that Joe Biden didn't like the decision. He disagrees with the policy outcome, but his real issue is with the Constitution. Boiled down, this decision comes down to saying the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution means what it says. It was intended to extend all rights to all citizens, regardless of race, and it corrected the Constitution, which was tainted by slavery. So that's all they did. It's far-reaching only because we got off track. We moved from a colorblind ideal espoused by Martin Luther King to dividing people up by racial boxes.
And Mark, Justices Ketanji Brown Jackson and Clarence Thomas, they basically went at each other in their decisions yesterday. If we can pull up some of their quotes right here. Justice Jackson writing in part, quote, "This decision is a tragedy for us all with let them eat cake obliviousness today. The majority pulls the ripcord and announces color blindness for all by legal fiat." Then Justice Thomas responds to that, essentially saying, quote, "As she sees things, we are inexorably trapped in a fundamentally racist society. Such a view is irrational. It is an insult to individual achievement and cancerous to young minds seeking to push through barriers rather than consign themselves to permanent victimhood." Your thoughts on their comments?
Well, I think you'll be surprised to know that the American public basically agrees with both of them in some way, right? The American public overwhelmingly does see that there has been racism, even systematic racism through the society. But then when we ask them, do you think racial preferences in college admissions or in employment or in other areas will fix this? They say no. About 74% say no to that. So the public is incredibly sympathetic, wants to do something about the problems and the disparities, but does not think that this is the real answer. I think, look, if the Democrats and Biden go against the decision, maybe opinion will tighten up. But even when they held referendums in California, race preferences in admissions were rejected.
Bill McGurn, a lot of discussion about what this means for black children in America. But Asian American children are the ones that have been asking for some more of this fairness. Could you speak to that?
Yeah, I have 3 Asian American children, 3 Chinese-born children. And, we feel the kind of pressure on this. And many of them have to wonder when they apply if their hard work and effort will pay off. I think it's a great day for these people. They got a message that they'll be judged by their achievements rather than the color of the skin. And I want to say, you and I were at the White House when John Roberts was put forward for Chief Justice. This is his finest hour. It took some bravery to make this decision. Not only was it the right decision, it was clear, something that previous Supreme Courts were not.
Indeed. Let's get to the other topic. Let's throw a bit of politics Mark's way.
Yeah. Okay. So yesterday, obviously, President Biden was on MSNBC. He sat down for an interview. Let's take a look at a few of the things he was not asked about. If we can pull this graphic up right here, you would think they would be talking about Hunter Biden, potentially the DOJ, anything like that. These are the topics they didn't touch on. Hunter Biden, Bidenomics, which he's been talking about the last couple of weeks, Russia, inflation, the 2024 Democratic field, fentanyl, or the border. None of those things were talked about. Mark, how does that happen?
Well, look, I think journalism is going to have to kind of look at itself and the kinds of questions that they ask in interviews. Look, I remember in the days of Clinton, when Bill Clinton went out, they would ask about every tough subject, every whitewater, every possible, failing of the presidency, because the whole idea of an interview was to see how presidents could react to the problems that they're having and the problems of the country. So, look, unless America gets real interviews with their leaders touching the tough topics, they're not really being informed on how good their leadership is. And I can't fix that. Maybe journalists can.
Bill McGurn, there's a lot of talk about the end of the interview because President Biden, I guess he was ready to leave the studio. Watch here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Nicole,
much.
I appreciate
it's great to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Don't go anywhere. It's a very exciting day around here. We'll have reaction.
Don't go anywhere, sir. But there he went, Bill McGurn. Final word to you on that interview.
Yeah, I think the interview, as you point out, didn't ask tough questions about Hunter and so forth. And I just want to point out the allegations about Hunter have changed. They've become very specific and very provable or disprovable. Was Joe Biden sitting next to Hunter when he threatened that Chinese businessman? Did Merrick Garland give David Weiss the powers he said he did? These are all very specific, and they've avoided answering specifically so far. And I hope that they're held to it.
All right, Bill McGurn, Mark Penn, thank you for joining us on this Friday. Have a great weekend, and happy 4th of July to you.
Thank you, Dana.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.